I think that highlighting the benefits of migration, especially at the community level, is one of the key ways that we can help to balance the public narrative about migrants and migration. That being said, it's really crucial to make sure that we aren't inadvertently creating an us versus them mentality, creating a divide between the groups that we actually want to bring together. In the current context of COVID-19, for example, even positive stories that highlights migrants' valuable contributions to the pandemic response can risk reinforcing divisions if they leave out the broader community by creating misperceptions that the contributions of long-term residents aren't being equally recognized. This can be counterproductive for efforts to shift the narrative on migration. So how can we talk about the benefits of migration in a more effective way? The key here is to bring the community perspective into messages about migration. Going back to the COVID-19 example, this could mean showing newcomers and long-term residents working together, for example, side by side, to help their communities respond and recover from the pandemic. Messages that show communities, including migrants and refugees, working towards common goals can really help bring a sense of unity and social cohesion to our messaging. In other words, we want to focus on sharing unifying messages that emphasize the us rather than speaking exclusively about one group or another. When sharing these messages, something else that we can keep in mind is the value of storytelling, of everyday stories. While there are many incredible examples of migrants contributing to their communities, it can also be useful to look at ways to share more relatable stories, basically looking at how migrants and long-term residents are working together on day-to-day activities. Volunteering, for example, at a community event or playing on a sports team together. This connects to another important element in communicating about migration, which is the use of shared values. It's important to ensure that the messages we share are grounded in facts and evidence. But we also know that data by itself is not enough to shift perspectives about migration, and this is where the values come in. By pairing facts with personal stories that appeal to shared values, we can talk about the benefits of migration in a way that will resonate more strongly with our intended audience. Doing so can create an opportunity for the public to find commonalities and identify their own experiences or stories that may be similar to those of migrants. And as we learn more about what works and what doesn't when communicating about migration, it's also important to think about how we can work together to put these lessons into practice. One example I'd like to share with you is the work that Canada is doing along with the Government of Ecuador and the GFMD Mayor's Mechanism via the Global Forum on Migration and Development. Canada and the Government of Ecuador and the Mayor's Mechanism have created a working group on public narratives on migration and migrants. The working group is currently leading the development of a new global multi-stakeholder communications campaign that will focus on telling migrants' stories in the broader community context. The campaign will provide a digital toolkit of resources, including social media templates that can be customized by participating countries, cities, and organizations to share their own unique stories on social media. Resources will be made available for individuals to share online and encouraging the public to take part in the campaign. The goal of this work is to help balance the narrative on migrants and migration by telling everyday stories from the community that can help break down the divisions between the us and the them. At this stage, the development of the campaign is well underway, and our goal is to launch it on International Migrants Day on December 18th. More details will be released in the coming weeks, and we look forward to everyone's participation in this new innovative global campaign. The Canadian government indeed launched the campaign in 2018 called Immigration Matters. And it's a communications campaign that helps to demonstrate the benefits of immigration at the local level and dispels common myths about immigration that promote the positive contribution of migrants in Canadian society. The campaign came out of research that showed us that while Canadians tend to be for immigration generally at the national level, they are less likely to see the benefits personally at their neighborhood level. And even though support for immigration has remained relatively stable over time, Approximately 60% of the Canadian population is still on the fence about migration. We know that people can have practical concerns about how immigration affects them personally and affects their community. Immigration Matters aims to acknowledge and address the legitimate concerns that the Canadian population has about migration. The strength of the campaign comes from acknowledging these concerns and these perspectives and working to foster authentic conversations about immigration. It does this by using compelling stories combined with facts to increase receptivity of messaging. These stories are shared on the Immigration Matters website, which is the cornerstone of the campaign. One of the other key elements of the Immigration Matters campaign is its focus on collaboration with non-traditional partners. Through this campaign, we've reached out to different stakeholders in our community who have credibility or an established relationship with our target audience. And we've worked to share the campaign messaging with them. For example, we've worked with Restaurants Canada, who has published Immigration Matters content in their food industry magazine. We've worked with a number of Canadian airports who have played the Immigration Matters videos in the airports so that Canadians can see them when flying in and out of the country or throughout the country. And we've also partnered with major sports teams. The Canadian Football League, for example, the National Hockey League, and Canada Soccer have all hosted citizenship ceremonies. To help build these partnerships, a partner toolkit has been developed to explain the campaign and outline why and how the organizations can participate. More recently, in the context of the pandemic, the Immigration Matters campaign is focusing on sharing videos and online stories of immigrants who are helping in the COVID-19 response in communities across Canada. They're developing infographics on the percentage of immigrants working in various sectors of the Canadian economy, such as the healthcare sector or the food industry sector. And the campaign is engaging with external partners to tell stories of immigrant contributions within their networks and to engage a conversation about immigration on social media. Explaining how Canada's immigration system works in a way that protects the health, safety, and well-being of Canadians is another key factor of the Immigration Matters campaign. We're seeing quite a success with this campaign, and we're very, very happy with the results to date.